Blog Talk Radio.
Firing up the grill, having a picnic, going to a game, or the shore? Stop by Acme for juicier Lancaster brand meats, fresher cut fruits and vegetables, tastier desserts from our bakery, and all your snack needs. It's the 3-day sale now through June 19th. Get Breyers or Ben & Jerry's ice cream 16 to 48 ounces. Buy one, get one free. Lancaster brand USDA choice boneless New York strip or bone-in ribeye, $7.99 a pound, 3 pounds or more. And live lobster, $7.99 a pound, limit 6. At Acme, it's just better.
Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews from Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia. You're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Scott Mortier, the president of Franchise Wells and the executive vice president of business development at Froots. And we're going to discuss how two franchises, Froots and Gyroville, partnered to blend their expertise, coming right up here on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com, or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years, we've been asking the Franchpreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Scott Mortier, the president of Franchise Wales and the executive vice president of business development at Froots. And today we're going to discuss how two franchises, Froots and Gyroville, partnered to blend their expertise. Hi, Scott. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Marty. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Scott. It's great to have you back on this show. We would like to ask our guests, where are you calling from this morning?
I am in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Ah, lucky you. I guess it's sunny there today, isn't it?
It's very sunny.
That's fantastic. You have a great story, Scott. I've gotten to know you over time. Maybe you could tell our guests a little bit about your career, and how you got involved in franchising, and what's your role today since I last spoke with you?
Yeah, I cut my teeth on franchising. It's the only real industry I've ever been in. I was fortunate enough to be one of the first franchise owners for Quiznos Sub many years ago.
Right.
Parlayed that into kind of a multi-unit developer and worked for the company for a long time in franchise development. So I can honestly say franchising is the only job I've ever had.
That's fantastic. What do you like most about franchising, Scott? Is there something that drew you to franchising initially?
I really like, helping people realize just how easy it is for them to get into business and kind of control their own future. I love building systems, and, as you can tell, I'm involved in many different franchise concepts and kind of our incubator capacity that we've kind of become for startup brands. And, we invest in a lot of franchise systems that we believe in and help not only develop the system, but help, people get into business for themselves.
What caught my attention, what you were doing these days was the partnership with Gyroville executives. How did that whole thing come about, Scott? Did you want to tell that story?
Yeah, like anything else, we tried the product. My partner, David Lopez, and I were in a Gyroville, and yes, they say Gyroville, in South Florida, and tried the product. Just couldn't believe it. And as we did our research, we found that they had 9 locations in South Florida. They had tried to franchise, but had never really been successful because they just didn't know how. And they'd gotten some bad advice, and they kind of went the broker route, and they weren't really helping them develop their systems and processes. So they never really took off as a franchise. And we partnered with them about 3 months ago, and already we've awarded 6 franchises in a very short period of time. So.
That's fantastic.
Gyroville very soon. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, what I was reading about was the Gyroville CEO and then the COO. They're heading up the operations at Fruits. So, what are some of the changes that are being implemented then, Scott?
Yeah, what we know is, Fruits has been around for a long time. My partner, David Lopez, who's, the president and CEO of Dental Fix and Trelongo and a bunch of other business models that are out there, it was his first company. And, he had made some, he had kind of stepped back and sold a lot of his interest in Fruits years ago, and kind of some management struggles were had with the company. So we decided we wanted to relaunch the brand. We have a number of units that are very successful, and we've kind of weeded out the poorer franchisees and kind of really got the system locked down now. And we wanted to start, kind of taking it to the next level. And a partnership, Dave and Lambros, the CEO and COO at Gyroville, they're hardcore restaurant operators. They're chefs.
Right.
Their background is tremendous. We know what we don't know, we always like to say.
Right, sure, of course.
Yeah, and these guys know what we don't. And they came in and they've reconcepted our menu. We've redone our store design. We put a lot of systems in place that are really going to kind of relaunch Froots moving forward.
That's great. And Froots and Gyroville, I mean, they're both considered fast casual restaurants. Maybe we could talk about, both concepts, Scott, because we've certainly been seeing more Mediterranean build-your-own concepts make their way into the scene, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And, what I liked about Gyroville personally is that, it exists in 1,200 square feet. A lot of the Mediterranean build-your-own fast casual concepts out there are 2,000, 3,000 square feet. And, it really makes it prohibitive from a normal franchise prospect, if you will, to come in and operate because, they don't have the financial wherewithal to personally guarantee a 3,000 square foot lease for 10 years and, build a $500,000 build-your-own fast casual Mediterranean concept.
Right.
Our investment all in is about $250,000 for a Gyroville, and it's it exists in 1,200 square feet, and it's a business that literally anyone can operate. And Fruits,
that's great.
Fruits is great. I mean, it's smoothies, wraps, salads, clean, organic. Great product, very quickly delivered to the customers or the more health conscious folks.
Yeah, it seemed like a strong match with the two coming together. And what we've of course been noticing, and I'm sure you've noticed, Scott, over time is the change in the trend in like a healthy eating lifestyle. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that because you really are on the front line. You deal a lot with the consumers and the franchises, and is that what you've been seeing going on?
Yeah, absolutely. It was important to us, and it continues to be as we look at, bringing other franchise concepts into our franchise whale incubator, that, they're locally sourced, healthy products, really with strong ties to the community. It's very, very important, and it's really taking hold within at least the restaurant side of the franchise industry.
Right.
And people are really paying attention to what they put in their bodies, and these two concepts are great examples of that.
That's fantastic. You mentioned about, franchise whales, Scott, and I thought that was interesting as well. Did you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I thought that was an interesting concept that you're working on.
Yeah, is we took a kind of a view of the landscape of franchising, and, we found that there's not a lot of people out there helping the guy with 10 to 25 units. Typically they're being pressured to hire brokers. Well, at the end of the day, a broker is just going to sell a franchise and disappear, and they don't really care who they're selling the franchise to. They don't have a vested interest in the success of that candidate. And these companies that say they're going to help you franchise and they're going to charge you a lump sum up front to help you get your operations manual, your disclosure document. Those are the same documents they're recycling over and over, and their support is very administrative. We found that there's no one actually making investments in these brands. There's no one willing to kind of put their money where their mouth is. Come in, take a piece of these, take some equity in one of these concepts, help them develop a system and grow their brand, and then both share in the success of that growth.
That's great. So would you work with independent businesses looking to franchise then, Scott? I mean, like multi-unit franchisees
Absolutely.
or like existing? You would? Okay. That's
yeah,
great.
Absolutely. I mean, we look for concepts that have never thought of franchising that we think is a strong concept that we can come in, make an investment, give them the resources. We have a number of brands. We have 12 different brands under our umbrella right now, all working out of a 25,000 square foot office in Sunrise, Florida. So the really nice part is, there are people in an office next to them that were where they were at last year. We have shared resources. When the CEO of Gyroville, who we just came on and started to sell for them, when I bring another concept in that's thinking about franchising, I can connect the two. And he can say, listen, I've been where you're at. These are the lessons I've learned. So it's really an incubator in the truest sense of the word.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, as far as the future of franchise whales, I mean, where do you see that end of the business, Scott, like maybe 3 to 5 years down the road?
3 to 5 years down the road, I envision we have 25 concepts all in a 100,000 square foot office kind of, living and breathing together. David and myself have made an investment in these brands, and we've helped them grow. And, some have 25 units, some have 100 units.
Right.
They're able to lean on each other. They're our partners. They can, we have shared resources, in-house counsel, architect, things like that they can resource. And it's quite honestly, it's a lot cheaper than them going out and trying to find somebody and doing it on their own.
Sure, of course. What do you look for? I mean, when you're looking or analyzing a franchise, Scott, you and David, I mean, what do you guys look for, as far as like taking them on as a client or a partner?
Really it's the product or the business opportunity is at front and center. We know that not everything is going to be the same deal, quite honestly. We recently just strictly partnered from a franchise development perspective with Miami Grill, which is, the original Miami Subs down in South Florida that had 70 units. They came to us, and then we partnered with them to help them grow their franchise system strictly from a franchise development perspective. We didn't make an investment in that brand. They weren't interested. They didn't, weren't looking for equity. They have very strong menu development, very strong, up and down. The system is very solid. They just needed assistance on the development side. So that's a concept, we started working with the franchise whale. Gyroville, Tiki Shaved Ice. These are brands that have, tried to do it themselves for a number of years and had everything figured out, but the franchise development.
Because franchise development is difficult, isn't it, Scott? I mean, for, a lot of, the founder of the franchise, I mean, it's a totally different business. I mean, from doing the show such a long time now, that's been one of the themes on the show, is developing the franchise can be quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a lot of great concepts out there that if they were given the tools and taught to develop the system, would be very, very successful. They don't have to partner with, these pure brokers out there who are just going to give them candidates and take off. They're, the hardest thing to understand in franchising today is how to generate the right lead. And we have an in-house digital marketing company that does all of our lead generation across all of our brands. I have a team that does nothing but analyze the data from lead gen and a kind of our ideal candidate, and we go out and we find them.
Which is so important. A lot of times on the show, over the last almost decade now, Scott, we've been comparing it to almost like a marriage, isn't it? I mean, it's got to be a match on both ends, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to be together for a long time.
Sure.
You need to, make sure the candidate fully understands the business model from day one. They weren't pressured into it. They were given the right information. They have a firm understanding of what it is. Two, they believe and trust in your experience, and they understand, like you said, it is a marriage, and you're going to be together for a long time. So open communication is of the utmost importance.
Of course, yeah, no, absolutely. So are there any specific areas where you're looking to grow on both brands, as specifically talking about Froots and Gyroville, Scott?
Yeah, for Froots and Gyroville, Gyroville, we found very early on that the people that are interested in our brand are multi-unit developers who are looking to add another concept to their portfolio.
Right. Interesting.
And so because that's kind of our ideal candidate, Gyroville, we're developing all over the United States. Because again, we're selling, we recently, sold the Houston market to a developer who's going to develop, up to 8 units over the next 5 years. So, that's the attraction. We want someone like that. On the fruit side, we're basically concentrating our franchise development efforts on the Southeast.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. You've been involved in franchising quite a long time now, Scott, and a lot of our listeners, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. I mean, most of them have it in their mind that they want to get into franchising, but as you know, it's quite difficult to narrow it down sometimes to that one franchise. From all your years of experience, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise?
When you're given a disclosure document, make sure you review it. Talk to as many franchise owners in a system as you can. And most importantly, always attend a discovery day. Even if the franchise brand doesn't have a quote-unquote discovery day, go down to the corporate headquarters, view the operation, visit as many locations as possible. And then at the end of the day, trust your gut. If in your gut you don't know if this is the right fit or not, don't do it. You need to be 100% committed to your business. You're never going to be successful. So I always tell everyone I meet with, trust your gut. If it's telling you not to buy this franchise, don't buy the franchise.
That's interesting. We've had people like yourself who've been involved in franchising quite a long time now, and they've given similar advice, Scott. And I've always thought that was interesting. Is to, as you said, go with that gut feeling. Sometimes you just know, don't you? Yeah,
and a lot of talking yourself into something is never a good thing. And even from a franchise development perspective, and at Franchise Wales, this is what we teach our partners. You know, you're not selling. You're never going to get someone into changing their life and buying a business and quitting their job. And if you do happen to talk someone into it, they're not going to be the ideal franchise candidate.
Sure.
You know, deliver the information, let them make an informed decision on their own. And again, I tell everyone I meet with, again, trust your gut. That's really, at the end of the day, it's what you have.
That's fantastic. What's the best way for our listeners, Scott, to get more information on all the different services that you provide? I'm sure there's a couple different websites that if you want to plug, that would be great.
Yeah, there's a number of them. You certainly can visit gyroville.com, www.gyroville.com, fruits.com, and then thefranchisewales.com. And all of my contact information is on each of those sites. So feel free to give me a call, even if you just have questions.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you again for coming back on the show, Scott. A great guest, and I'd like to invite you back next year as all these concepts continue to grow. I think this is a wonderful services, so it's just been terrific speaking with you again.
Fantastic, Marty. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it as always.
It's been my pleasure, Scott. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Coming up in segment 2, we're going to meet with a friend who just celebrated his 80th birthday right here on Franchise Interviews.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032. That's
franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, and I want to thank Scott for coming on the show. Well, right now we're going to play a clip from someone who just celebrated their 80th birthday, and that's Michael Gerber, and we want to wish Michael Gerber a very happy birthday. He's been on the show 3 times up to this point, and it's just, I find him to be one of the most amazing people on the earth, so he's just fantastic. So this is a clip from our Great Quote and Franchising podcast that we did with Michael, about 2 or 3 years ago. And here we go with the great Michael Gerber.
Hi, everyone. This is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. And today's podcast is being brought to you by Diamond Financial Services. And if you're looking for a loan to finance your franchise, simply click the Diamond Financial Services logo below. Today's podcast, you're going to get to hear from a legend in entrepreneurship and franchising, and that's Michael Gerber. And we've had Michael on the show 2 times up to this point, and the first time we had him on the show, Don and I were amazed at the amount of emails we received and listeners, and it was really overwhelming and incredibly fun at the same time. One of the questions that we commonly ask on every show is, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? And naturally, Michael's response was brilliant. So here we go. Franchising and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, well, I think before that, Mike, I think a lot of people listening might be a little surprised that your mom still tells you what to do.
No, that's the problem. My mom has never told me what to do. She inspires me to do things that I never thought about doing.
Absolutely. That's great. That's tremendous. Yeah. What advice would you give to a prospective franchisee looking to buy a franchise, Michael?
Well, first of all, understand what you want. It has less to do with the franchise than it does with you. What is it truly important to you to do? This whole new emergence of the dreaming room, for example, really revolves around the idea that struck me that this is the age of the new entrepreneur. And the new entrepreneur is very, very much different than the one who preceded him. The new entrepreneur is more interested in a business that has meaning, not just money. So the whole question for the new entrepreneur or the one who wants to buy a franchise is really, so what's the meaning of this? What's the impact of this on the world? When we begin to look at the world and really realize that the world is in dreadful shape, you wonder then how I, in a business of my own, could have some kind of impact that would add value to the world. So I'd begin to look at franchises from that perspective. What's the value of the franchise? Presuming that I'm going to be successful, what is the value? What do I deliver that has value to my customer? What pride do I get from what it is I'm doing? What am I adding of benefit to the world as opposed to subtracting from the world, presuming, again, I'm going to be successful? So the first thing is, what does this company mean? What is the true meaning of this, and what's the impact and import of it? For me in my life, I'm going to die one day, and I'm going to probably die inside my business. And what I'd like to ask myself is, will I be proud of the fact that I devoted the rest of my life to doing this? Right. Would I want to say this to people I love? Would I want to say this to my kids? What am I going to say to them when I describe what I've chosen to do with the years of my life that I'm going to do it in? Because, in fact, you're going to spend the rest of your life in this business or in something very much like it. The second thing I would ask, once I've decided that, yes, this is a worthy thing to do for me, a human being, how organized is this thing that I'm going to do? How organized is it? Does it have a truly kick-ass breakthrough system for doing what it needs to do, which is attract people to it as customers, which is convert those people into active customers and paying customers, and ability to convert those customers into clients, meaning they come back again and again and again and again. So I want to build or buy that capability, or I'm going to then need to build it for myself.
Wow.
That's a great. We've been asking that question now since we started the show, Michael. We never got such a great response.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so really, don't jump into anything quickly. Do your due diligence, and that's a good point. I mean, this might be something you've been doing for a long time. Are you going to be proud of telling people this is what you do?
Proud, yeah.
I mean, Marty, you and I have talked about people just can't jump into something that sounds great. They got to
exactly
do
but they have to go more deeply into their own motivation.
Right.
And that's the thing that's missing almost all the time. Essentially, the prospective franchisee, the guy, the woman who decides they want to buy a business opportunity, essentially they go out there, and the one who pitches the deal the best gets the deal. And I'm essentially saying it's got to turn around the other way. The one who's going out becomes more thoughtful about what I'm looking for, as opposed to simply going out and looking for a good business to run.
Right, absolutely.
So that right there might be a strong characteristic of a successful somebody who.
Those are very deep words from Michael. Is talking about the whole, what is this franchise going to mean? How do I want to be remembered? So, again, it's going very deep into that question, but again, it's one of the best responses I think we've had up to this point. And again, it is Michael Gerber. He's sold millions of copies. His latest book is Awakening the Entrepreneur Within, and we had Michael on the show several months ago, and we spoke about the book. And again, he's going to be in Great Quotes and Franchising on several locations. It was hard to decide which one we were going to use first, but this was it. So again, you're going to see Michael again in a couple other editions of Great Quotes and Franchising. That day that we did the show, following us, actually became a friend to the show, Ken Six, who hosts a show called Arbor Talk with Peter Felix. And Ken was also a big fan of Michael Gerber. Here was Ken's reaction following the show. And again, we'll leave you with that. And we'd love to hear your feedback on this edition of Great Quotes and Franchising. And we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Here we go.
The inventor of the resistograph. And this is, need I say more, Joe? We've got a jam-packed show. Joe, you got to get Marty back on the line. I think that was Michael Gerber on his show.
That was Michael Gerber.
I tell him to call in. That guy he wrote the E-Myth.
He did.
We need Marty to come in for about a minute.
Yeah. That's a very good idea. Let me work on that.
If you're listening, Marty, call us up.
All right, we'll do.